First of all, Congressman-elect Barry Moore, thank you so much for joining us today. We feel like we've all been through this process with you, and now that you've made it to D.C., take us through the congressional freshman orientation. Have you started yet, and what do you expect before your swearing-in ceremony?
Yeah, we've started. I tell everybody it's kind of like drinking from a fire hose. There's a lot to get done in a short period of time, but we've got some key people in place. We're learning our way around and kind of going through the process of setting up the offices for serving constituents and for serving here at Congress.
Yeah, and all of Alabama's congressional delegations are Republicans, except for one. You will be forced to work with Speaker of the House Nancy Pelosi and your colleagues on the other side of the aisle who have the majority of the House of Representatives. How do you plan to do that?
Well, I think we have a great opportunity to bridge the gap. We obviously, the Democrats now have a razor-thin margin after this midterm, and so, or this general election, and so I think there's some ways that we can use the gains that the Republican Party have made, as well as just putting forth good policy to force them to work. You know, when they had a supermajority, almost supermajority, they really didn't have to pay us much attention. But I think now we have a voice in the process because of our numbers.
Our country is divided right now, perhaps more than ever in our history. What role will you play in bringing people together while you're in Washington?
Well, I think as divided as we seem at times, there are some issues that we can agree on. And certainly, I think the economy, trying to get people back to work, I think everybody wants to get some sense of normalcy back. So I think first we need to make sure the integrity of the elections is verified and that was a fair process, and do what we can do to clean that process up so there's no questions going forward. And then, you know, just continue to bridge gaps in places where there's opportunities. I just think there's some opportunities for us, and we're going to move in that direction.
And speaking of those opportunities, what committees are you hoping to be a part of once you're sworn in? Committees you believe that will be important to specifically Southeast Alabama?
Well, obviously, you know, military is a big part, and agriculture. I'll be the only veteran from the Alabama delegation serving in Congress, and so that's a big important part of the district for us. We've got Maxwell Gunter, we've got a lot of veterans, we've got Fort Rucker. And then agriculture, obviously, I'm an ag science major, probably another rarity up here. So those are two areas that fit well with the district, and we hope that we can use our expertise, our experience to build on that process to make sure we serve our district.
And from D.C., you know, that's a big difference from Alabama. So what will be your biggest adjustment moving to D.C.?
You know, I think for us, just, you know, I've got a place here pretty close. I can walk to work every day. The biggest adjustment for me is just the size of the bureaucracy. We dealt with that at the state level in Montgomery, but this is another level of bureaucracy that really we have to try to delve into and understand and make sure we work as efficient and as productive as possible.
And what would you like to say to your people here in the Wiregrass, especially your hometown of Enterprise, who helped you to get to Washington?
Well, let me say this. If you can send a garbage man from Battens Crossroad, Alabama to Congress, and it still tells me we're the greatest nation on earth. And as that individual, I am humbled, and I want to do what I can. I hope to do just to love mercy and walk humbly as I serve.
And you were also recently named the Grand Marshal of the Christmas Day Parade in Enterprise. How do you feel about that?
You know, again, it's just one of those humbling things. I'm sure most of my sixth grade teachers would probably never thought that would ever happen. but you know, again, I'm just honored to be here and honored to serve as the Grand Marshal, and look forward to getting back home for a few days and seeing my people from around that area.
Well, once again, Congressman-elect Barry Moore, thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you all for having me. I appreciate it.